session for our workshop. Let's see, next item on the agenda for the workshop. Item Resolution 2014-158 CDBG grant for senior center improvement. Darcy.
Yes, it is for the senior center and for the gym. It is a $50,000 grant for the reworking of the senior center, the gym, new carpet in the senior center, and the awning that connects all of our buildings. We need a new roof, definitely in the senior center, because it's a leak. There's a big leak when it rains really bad. The carpet is probably as good as this one, maybe a little worse. And the awning, it leaks. So Jim Morgan is doing a lot of this work. I'm just supplying him with numbers. And we need minutes and authorization to go ahead with the grant that goes with the paperwork when we submit the grant on the 30th of May.
And we need to add that if we do get the $50,000 grant, that the student portion is $5,000. We have a 10%.
Yes, $5,000. That was not in the budget. I did not find the leak until after the budget was approved. But it runs down the span.
Do we have $5,000 available for capital projects this year?
We can come up with it.
Council questions?
The $55,000, is that going to cover the cost? I know that's a grant, but is that going to cover the?
I was told it was that, because I had got bids on the senior center and it was like $3,000. And then I went to this grant, the meeting, and they said that it will be over $3,000, but he didn't say how much. And he said that the grant has to be at least $50,000 to go through. So then the gentleman with the grant committee told me to put the gym roof on it. He said because it's in dire need of repair. So they're the one that steered me towards this one, the gym roof.
So we cost it out?
Yes.
We did estimates, I had estimates down on what is involved in the grant, and yeah, the grant will cover it.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to voice out, that we want to do a process of estimating the cost of value, replacement of the roof and the carpet, the grant, and associated.
Yeah, it'll cover all of it. Carpet, roof, new fans.
Well, the fan still works. Knock on wood. Any other questions?
Council pleasure? Move it forward. Great. All right, and next on the agenda, memorandum of understanding for summer youth lunch worker.
This would be for the summer youth lunch worker that helps Joanne over at the gym when she does the meals for the kids. Sometimes she can get between 40 and 100 kids at lunch and she needs help. The position would run from June 30th through August 22nd. It is a part-time job. They have to do a mandatory training on June 20th. Any questions?
What are their hours? How many hours a day?
I think it's
4 hours
4 hours a day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what is the proposed wages?
$12.
In the
Do we have the budget?
Yeah.
They got to get their, I'm sorry, they have to get their food handling and all.
Yes, they have to, yes.
The food's not cooked
Still-
on site, but it's brought in.
It's brought in, but you still have to have your food handlers present.
Further council discussion?
Just for council's information, we've never done an MOU for the lunch help, but that Teamsters asked if we would do this. They're not asking that person to join the union or anything. They're just recognizing that they're allowing us to hire somebody that is actually represented for the summer help.
Further questions? Council pleasure?
Move forward, Board.
That's moved forward. And next on the agenda, did that one already? Approval of MOU for public work, seasonal maintenance workers.
No, it's already covered.
Already did that.
Yeah. It's American alcohol. That's it.
So the MOU for Jeep, here's that front loader.
Item G.
Right, we just did that one.
No, the other MOU, that was MOU for the summer lunch, this is for summer public work.
Sorry.
Thanks, Darcy. Thank you.
So it's that time of year again, we need extra help for mowing the parks and weed eating and cleaning ponds and things like that. So this is a request for approval of MOU for 2 seasonal maintenance workers.
Council discussion?
Just for council's information,
Those
this
one
one
position?
is standard, shoot.
Two.
This one is standard, it's basically a copy and paste from last year.
And what are their roles? Because in the past, then we just dealt with one and they mowed the lawn.
Last year we dealt with 2, the year before that we didn't have any, the year before that they had 2.
So what kind of work roles are we talking about?
They're doing mowing, weed eating, around the ponds, around the parks, and then just minor maintenance work, garbage collection, different things like that.
We thought about hiring
Running the
those.
bar.
We're looking into that, yes.
We're talking
They
good
eat the
for
native
pond.
plants, though.
Yeah.
Question on that, I actually meant to ask about that anyway, because that was the presentation. If a landowner wants to bring in red ruminant, is that livestock within city limits, is that currently allowed?
It's not, we're gonna have to make a modification to the code in order to allow that.
Who's got horses?
Rent a ruminant has been doing it, that's actually been a company for a long time. They do all sorts of good, they don't find feeding with
Somebody uses the high school FFA, for their pond cleaning.
They don't have any heavy equipment, they don't even have the weight of the human footprint.
You have it, you know.
That's what they do.
Eat everything.
They,
Clean and food.
somebody eats there, oh.
Oh, yeah, fertilizer. Okay.
Any further council discussion?
Now this is, union covered steps out of repay benefits, so the hours lower.
The hours, well,
Because I see 480, but I don't see a weekly, monthly range, so.
they do 40 hours a week, so it is union, yeah. But they're not here, the only benefit they get is medical, because they're not here long enough to get any other benefits.
I'm sure about that.
Yes.
Okay, because we've had to pay people temporary, pay them pension before.
But they're not fully vested till they're here 6 months. Like
Right.
they're not reaching the benefits till they're here 6 months.
You mentioned medical. Medical shouldn't run $1,000 a month.
I don't believe we've paid medical in the past. That's the
No,
only
we never
thing,
paid
yeah,
medical,
and that's the only thing that I would see that they could get paid.
No benefit to
No
begin until
benefit.
after 6 months.
Yeah.
Because there was never any medical, because the only thing, when the union started nosing around on this, wanting this, sniffing this position out, there wasn't a heck of a lot of difference between what we were paying and what the union salary would be on the low end, so it wasn't any big deal. But, and there was no benefit, there was no medical, there was no, nothing. But if we start talking medical or something, that's $1,000 a month or more. So, we're gonna make sure that
Just want to make sure.
we're clear on that.
Because I thought we were doing less hours last time.
The last 2 times that we've hired somebody, it's 40 hours a week.
Should we have that medical nailed down when it comes back to us next week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Further council questions? Council pleasure? Let's move it forward. CDL drug and alcohol testing policy.
Yes. We have several CDL drivers. Federal law mandates that all CDL drivers be on a random drug testing, also pre-employment screening testing. And we started doing that last year, but we do not have a policy in place to enforce that or deal with it if somebody comes back positive. Fortunately, we haven't had anybody do that, so we haven't had to deal with it. But it is something that is required. This has been reviewed by the union, and it has been reviewed by Public Works Committee and staff and the mayor. And this is the policy that AWC sent us to use.
Council question?
Is it better for us to have our own established policy or pick up somebody else's, like King County or the state of Washington, adopt it?
This is going to be the same. This is going to be really close, if not exactly the same as what King County is going to have, because there's certain guidelines that the federal government mandates for CDL drug testing.
I'd also think, for the sake of consistency, to have the policy be the one that's recommended by the same organization that provides our insurance coverage. Seems like a good move.
It shows that we have consistency, amongst other cities. We're not trying to do something above and beyond or different.
Yeah, in the event of a dispute, our attorneys will know exactly how to defend it because they work with our carrier and all that.
I know this is for CDL licensed drivers, but what about the other vehicles that are driven?
And this, right now, we don't have a drug testing policy in place for anything except CDL. CDL is required by federal mandate, so that's something that would have to be dealt with in the future.
We have to negotiate.
That would be negotiated.
Yeah, it's not in the contract.
Wouldn't it be a good idea to have anybody who's working with heavy equipment of any sort be drug tested randomly?
Contract.
I'm sorry?
Contract.
Yeah,
Not in their
It's
contract.
not-
Yeah, as a change in for
Just need to add it to the next
It
contract.
would be a good
Contract
idea.
comes a term,
Yeah.
we can add the language?
Yes.
We can negotiate the additional.
Negotiate,
Next
sorry.
year.
And they're very much aware it comes.
Further council discussion? Council pleasure?
Move forward.
Move forward. Alrighty, 6-year transportation improvement plan public hearing.
This is just for a resolution to set the public hearing for the 6-year transportation improvement plan.
And this will be setting that date for Monday, June 9th, 2014 at 6:30. Council discussion? Council pleasure? Move forward. Alrighty. P.C.S. Interlocal Valentine Agreement.
This is the agreement with P.C.S. Interlocal, which is the company that does all of our street lighting. This is the agreement for them to install the street lights on the new Valentine corridor when it's to that point.
Council question?
And just, if it's not on there, and it should be, we're trying out LED lighting for the Valentine because it's a lot cheaper to operate and supposedly they last longer.
Now, is this the lead program, or is this an actual program?
This is the purchase.
Are there council questions? Council pleasure? Over. Okay, next, interlocal agreement with Pierce County for street striping.
It's Up to date, we have been going out for bids for street striping and just doing small areas. I gave you a little handout that has the areas of streets that we'd like to have striped. It's a total of about 9 miles. I also have a map if anybody would like to see it. Pierce County has been working with Sumner, Auburn, and Algona for the last several years to do all of their striping, which is kind of interesting that they're working with Auburn because they're in King County. But they are cheaper than any of the companies that we've dealt with. They're also cheaper than King County for doing the striping. They want to know, the only way they'll do it is if we'll do an interlocal. Before they'll give me a set price on it, they have to know that we're willing to do an interlocal. And that's, so this is just discussion at this point.
Council questions?
Well, I would say we probably go ahead and jump through these hoops, but as far as heading up and actually making any commitments, I think that we deserve, that a fire line deserves respect, at least, that we go to them with what's been proposed by Pierce County, and because the fire line has done a lot of striping for us for nothing over the years and everything, and they are a city business. They do, at least as far as I'm concerned, deserve the right to give an opportunity to throw their hat in the ring rather than just boldly over them.
Still be a bid process, right?
It's still a bid process, yes.
Council pleasure? Move forward.
This is just for discussion. We'll come to you with an interlocal agreement and that kind of stuff in the meetings, first meeting in June. So there is no council action needed at this point.
Okay, next on the agenda, ordinance 1862, adopt